If someone told you that placing a lemon under your bed could make a difference in your energy, your sleep, and even your finances, you'd probably raise an eyebrow. It sounds too simple, too quiet, too citrusy. But sometimes the most ordinary things, when used with intention, have a way of shifting what feels stuck. And the truth is, most of us have at least one part of life that feels blocked. Maybe it's money that slips through your fingers faster than you can catch it, or the constant fatigue that sleep just doesn't fix, or a sense that something in your space feels off, heavier than it used to be. You don't have to believe in rituals or follow any spiritual path to understand this. The space we sleep in affects us. Every night we lie down not just on a mattress, but in an invisible pool of energy, emotions, and leftover stress. And most of us never think about how that space is holding onto things we're trying to let go of. The lemon isn't magic, but it is a natural purifier. Its scent, its structure, even its vibration have been used for centuries across cultures, not as decoration, but as a tool for cleansing, rebalancing, and restoring quiet flow. This isn't about superstition. It's about creating a pause in the noise of daily life. About placing something simple under your bed, not because you expect overnight miracles, but because you're willing to do one small thing that signals, "I'm ready for change." In the next few minutes, I'll guide you through a quiet ritual you can try tonight. No pressure, no cost. Just a lemon, a bit of salt, and a space that's waiting to feel lighter. Section 1. Why a lemon a fruit that listens to your silence? You've likely walked past a box of salt in your kitchen hundreds of times, reached for it without thinking, sprinkled it on eggs, pasta, maybe the rim of a margarita. It's familiar, harmless, but rarely, almost never, do we think of salt as something that can touch our lives in any meaningful way, and certainly not our finances. But let me ask you this. Have you ever walked into a room that just felt off? Not dirty, not cluttered, just heavy. Like something unseen was hanging in the air. Like your thoughts slowed down the moment you entered and your body didn't relax even after hours. That feeling isn't your imagination. And it isn't magic either. It's energy, and every home holds it. Energy lives in air that doesn't move, in corners that collect forgotten things, in memories that linger in objects. It lives in the sigh you let out after a stressful day, in the worry you carry into your pillow, in the silence that doesn't soothe but stiffens. And when that energy sits too long without being moved or softened, it becomes resistance. Resistance to rest, resistance to clarity, resistance to flow. Financial energy, like emotional and physical energy, needs openness to move. It needs circulation. But many of us are living in spaces that quietly block that movement night after night without even realizing it. That's where salt comes. Not as a superstition, not as a lucky charm, but as a quiet, powerful filter that can gently shift what's been stuck. Salt has been used for centuries across cultures as a purifier, not because people were naive, but because they noticed something. They noticed that a bowl of salt placed in the right corner made the room feel calmer. That it soaked up dampness, not just from the walls, but from the air. Air that often carried tension, grief, or stagnant emotion. In modern terms, you could call it a natural absorber. Scientifically, salt has hygroscopic properties. It pulls moisture from the air. But energetically, that same pull seems to extend to more than just water. It draws in what's heavy, it holds it, and it neutralizes it. Now, think about your bedroom. The one place in your home where your body is supposed to heal every night, where your breathing slows, where your subconscious opens. If that room carries energetic noise, leftover stress, financial worry, the emotional residue of arguments or fear, it doesn't matter how soft your sheets are. Your body won't fully rest in it. And if your body can't rest, your energy won't rise. And when your energy stays low, opportunities, financial or otherwise, start to feel distant, delayed, or strangely unreachable. You don't wake up clear, you wake up behind. You don't feel focused. You feel foggy. You don't take bold steps. You second guess. This has nothing to do with belief systems. It has everything to do with your environment and the subtle ways it shapes your nervous system, your focus, your decisions. Salt placed with purpose interrupts that cycle. One small glass by your bed becomes a nightly invitation for something lighter to return. And what you'll begin to notice isn't always dramatic, it's subtle. You might sleep more deeply with fewer tangled dreams. You might wake feeling clearer, as if your room breathes better. And slowly, you might find that your thoughts around money, around possibility, begin to shift. Not because salt attracts wealth like a magnet, but because you become less weighed down, more open, more responsive to opportunity. We tend to think of money as something purely external, numbers in a bank account, bills in a wallet. But the truth is, how we receive money, how we manage it, how we open to it, is deeply energetic. If your space is filled with unspoken stress, shame, or fear around money, it's no wonder your relationship with it feels complicated. Salt doesn't solve your finances, but it helps clear a space, internally and externally, for you to feel less blocked by them. And in that clarity, new decisions are made. Better ones, calmer ones. Now, here's where it gets beautiful. You don't need to do anything loud or elaborate. No rituals, no chants, no belief in crystals or spirits or mantras. You just need intention and consistency. A simple glass, some water, 3 spoonfuls of salt placed gently by your bedside, changed every few days. That's it. And as you sleep, the salt does what it's always done, pulls in the weight, neutralizes the noise, makes space for something else. That something else might be better sleep. It might be clearer thoughts. It might be the moment you finally send the email, ask for the raise, say yes to the new opportunity. Not because salt gave you courage, but because it helped take away the fog. The biggest changes in life rarely start with big moments. They start with small shifts. A room that feels better. A morning that begins calmer. A decision made from clarity, not stress. And maybe, just maybe, that shift begins with salt. So the next time you reach for that box in your kitchen, remember, you're not holding just seasoning. You're holding a centuries-old tool that's quietly waiting to help you let go of what no longer serves you and make room for what's meant to find you. Quietly, naturally, and maybe overnight. Section 2. Gather your tools gently, like rinsing off a memory. It begins with 3 ordinary things: a lemon, a handful of coarse salt, and a clean plate. Nothing rare, nothing expensive. Nothing you need to drive across town to find. And maybe that's the point. In a world where we're constantly chasing what's next, healing doesn't always come from somewhere far away. Sometimes it's already in your kitchen, waiting to be seen differently. The tools you need for this ritual aren't special because of where they come from. They're special because of the role you invite them to play. Start with the lemon. It's more than a fruit now, it's a vessel. Not for show, not for flavor, but for energy. Choose one that feels alive when you hold it, not too soft, not bruised. It should be cool, firm, and quietly vibrant. You don't need to know where it came from. You just need to feel that it's ready for something new, just like you. When you rinse it under water, don't treat it like any other piece of produce. Treat it like something you're preparing with care. Water has memory. That's not poetic, it's physics. As you run the lemon under a slow stream, think of the water as washing not just the surface, but the stories, the weight, the invisible dust that fruit has carried from the moment it was picked. You don't need to say anything. Just be present. Just let your breath slow. Just let the water rinse more than the skin. Now the salt. Don't underestimate it. Salt is ancient. Before we had rituals or names for energy, we had salt. It preserved, it protected, it held. Sea salt in its coarse, crystalline form is full of the same minerals found in our bodies. That's why it resonates. That's why it absorbs. You'll be using it not to season, but to seal. To draw in what no longer serves. To hold it quietly so it doesn't float back into the room. As you take a small bowl of it in your hands, think of it like fine dust from a mountain, soft but grounded, simple but sacred. Hold it like it matters. And finally, the plate. Maybe you've never thought much about plates. Maybe they're just things that hold dinner or sit stacked in a cupboard. But in this ritual, the plate is more than functional, it's foundational. It holds space. It becomes an altar. Not in a religious sense, but in the way a candlelit table becomes more than furniture when someone is remembered there. Choose a plate that's clean, not chipped, not cluttered. Simple, clear, and unbroken. That's what you're making room for. A container that says, this is not just another night. This part, the gathering, is not about perfection. You don't need to get it right. You don't need the fanciest salt or the most organic lemon. You need presence. You need to show up with your full attention. That's where energy begins to move, not in what you have, but in how you hold it. We live in a culture that tells us action is only meaningful if it's fast, productive, measurable. But there's another kind of action, a softer one. The kind where you slow down enough to notice what your space is asking for. And sometimes all it's asking for is this, that you pay attention while you prepare. The act of washing the lemon, placing it on the plate, sprinkling the salt, these are small movements. But when done with awareness, they stop time. And stopping time, even briefly, is no small thing. It's how we remember what we're doing this for, not for wealth alone, not just for better sleep, but for something quieter, space, emotional space, mental space, the space that lets you feel safe, restored, and maybe even a little hopeful when you wake up. And here's where it turns. When your hands move slowly and your thoughts stop rushing ahead to tomorrow's worries, something shifts. This isn't just prepping items for a ritual. This is you choosing to treat your environment with tenderness. This is you giving your nervous system a moment of calm. This is you whispering through action, I matter enough to do this gently. And maybe that's the real power of these tools, not what they are, but how they allow you to reconnect with your own pace, your own intention. You're not building a shrine, you're not summoning forces, you're simply saying, tonight I choose peace. And you're saying it without words. That is the most ancient language there is. Don't rush this part. It's not the setup before the real ritual. It is the ritual. The gathering is the beginning of the shift. The lemon doesn't absorb what you won't release. The salt doesn't hold what you haven't acknowledged. The plate doesn't carry anything unless you treat it as something worth placing. These tools are only as powerful as the presence you bring to them. But when you do bring presence, real, quiet, undistracted presence, they respond. Not with noise, not with drama, but with subtle shifts, softer sleep, a room that feels different, even if nothing has changed on the surface. And that's how energy works. Not always in fireworks. Sometimes it works in size, in the way light falls differently, in the way you breathe deeper without realizing it, in the way the silence of your room no longer feels lonely but restful. So gather your tools, not like you're ticking off a to-do list, but like you're gathering something sacred. A lemon, some salt, a plate, that's all. But in your hands, with your care, they become something else entirely, a beginning. Section 3. The ritual step by step, breath by breath. Now that you've gathered your tools, a lemon, coarse salt, and a plate, this is where the ritual truly begins. But don't mistake the word ritual for something mystical or far away from your everyday life. This is not about belief. It's about breath, about focus, about doing something slowly and deliberately enough that it becomes more than just a task. Each step you're about to take may seem simple on its own, but together they form a quiet sequence of release, a soft reset, a way of telling the space around you and the parts within you that you're ready to let go of what's heavy and make room for something lighter. Begin with the lemon in your hands. Take a moment. You're not just holding fruit, you're holding a symbol of energy, of shift. Rinse it again if you like. Feel the coolness against your palm. Let it ground you. Then place it gently on a clean surface. A cutting board or countertop will do. Now take a sharp knife. This isn't just about cutting. This is about opening, not slicing something apart, but creating space, like opening a window, like breathing out after holding your breath too long. Cut the lemon vertically down the center, but don't go all the way through. Leave the base connected. Then turn it and cut again horizontally, forming 4 equal parts that stay joined at the root. What you now have is not a split lemon, it's a quiet bloom, a symbol of expansion, a shape that invites energy in from all directions, north, south, east, and west. It's geometry with intention, it's stillness opening. Now place the lemon in the center of your plate. Center it with care, not with pressure, but with presence. Next, reach for the salt. You don't need a lot, just enough to surround the lemon in a circle. Move slowly. Pinch by pinch, sprinkle the salt around the lemon. Let it fall gently. This isn't just about creating a border. This is about drawing a boundary, a soft protection, a container that says, this space right here is being held. As you sprinkle, imagine each grain of salt catching a fragment of what you no longer wish to carry: stress, fear, overthinking. Let the salt absorb what your hands cannot. Finally, take a pinch and place it right on top of the lemon, not to bury it, but to anoint it, to join the elements, fruit and mineral, soft and grounded, together forming something whole. Once your plate is ready, take a breath. A deep, unhurried breath. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw soften. You don't need to rush to the next step. Energy doesn't move faster just because you do. When you're ready, bring the plate to your bedroom. Bend down slowly, not as a chore, but as a gesture of humility, of honoring the space that holds you every night. Slide the plate under your bed, right beneath where your body rests. This is intentional. Your bed is not just a piece of furniture. It is where your body returns to reset, to repair, to dream. By placing the lemon here, you are placing support exactly where your energy is most open, most vulnerable, most in need of peace. Before you rise, pause, let your eyes close, let the quiet deepen. Imagine the space below you lighting up softly, not bright, not dramatic, just a gentle glow like moonlight through a curtain. Imagine the lemon doing its work without needing anything from you. It is absorbing what you've outgrown, holding what you've outlived, creating room for what's ready to find you. And while it does that, you sleep. This is where the ritual takes root, not in the objects, but in the stillness, in the slowing down, in the willingness to treat a small act as meaningful. You don't need to speak anything aloud, but if a sentence comes to you, let it. Let it rise in your chest and whisper through your thoughts, something like, "Tonight I rest, tonight I release, tonight I welcome what is mine." And then, let go. Let the ritual work quietly, the way seeds grow underground. The way light changes your mood without you noticing. Don't check it. Don't watch it. Trust it. You've done your part. Now let your space do its own. Maybe the shift will be subtle, a calmer night, a slower morning, a new clarity in your thoughts, or maybe you won't notice anything at all until a week later when something that used to feel stuck finally moves. That's the nature of soft work. It doesn't demand your attention. It doesn't need proof. It just unfolds. So yes, this ritual is simple, but it is not small. Because what you're doing is practicing how to care for your space the way you care for people you love, with patience, with presence, with a willingness to listen even when there's no noise. And in doing so, you create something stronger than a clean room. You create a home that responds, a bed that holds more than your weight, a night that gives back instead of only taking. This isn't just about lemons and salt and plates. It's about presence. It's about saying, "This matters." And when you say that, even silently, the room hears you. The energy shifts, the weight lifts, the air moves, something changes. Step by step, breath by breath. That's how peace returns. That's how prosperity finds its way back to your door, not in lightning bolts, but in quiet waves, one breath at a time. Section 4, want to upgrade the ritual? Here's how to send your wish further. You've placed the lemon under your bed. You've sprinkled the salt. You've created a circle of quiet protection. And maybe that's enough for you, because even in its simplest form, the ritual works. But maybe part of you wants more. Maybe you feel a desire not just to clear what's heavy, but to call in something new, to send your wish beyond the four walls of your bedroom and into the wider flow of life. If so, this is where the ritual opens its next chapter. You don't need expensive tools. You don't need to memorize anything complicated. What you need is intention and the willingness to give your wish a voice. Too often we keep our desires locked inside, thinking about them endlessly but never releasing them. We carry them like heavy stones, repeating them in our minds but never letting them breathe. Writing your wish down changes that. It gives shape to what's only been an idea. It makes it tangible. Take a small piece of paper. Sit somewhere quiet. Before you write, pause and breathe. Don't rush. Feel the pen in your hand, the stillness of the room. Then instead of writing what you want, write what you are already living. Don't write, "I want to be financially secure." Write, "I am living in financial freedom." Don't write, "I wish for peace." Write, "I wake each day in peace." Speak to yourself on the page as if it's already real, because in a sense, it is. The moment you put it into words, you've shifted it from invisible to visible, from thought to form. Fold the paper gently and slide it under the plate with the lemon. Now your wish isn't circling in your head anymore, it's anchored, grounded, held. If you want to carry this even further, you can use something more ancient, a bay leaf. Bay leaves have long been symbols of victory and success, used in kitchens and in rituals for generations. Take one leaf. Write your wish across its surface in the same way, present tense, as if it's already done. Then safely, carefully set it aflame. Watch as the words you wrote rise with the smoke. It's not about burning away your desire, it's about releasing it into the unseen. As the flame consumes the leaf, your wish is carried upward. And when it turns to ash, gather it gently and place the ash on the plate with your lemon and salt. The physical remains stay with you, but the message has already traveled further. You've sent it both ways, into the air and into the earth. For some, scent is the most powerful trigger of memory and emotion. If that resonates with you, add a few drops of lemon essential oil around your bed. Let the fragrance drift into your space, clean and sharp. Every time you breathe it in, you're reminded that clarity is close, that freshness is possible, that renewal is in reach. If you want, light a white candle nearby. White doesn't just symbolize purity, it illuminates. It casts a glow that makes everything feel softer, calmer, more open. As it flickers, imagine that light guiding your wish out into the night. And if you have a small bell or even just something that makes a clean, bright sound, ring it softly after your preparations. That single note marks a threshold. It says, the old cycle is complete, the new one begins. It cuts through whatever heaviness might linger, leaving the room clearer. Sometimes one sound is enough to reset the atmosphere. Think of how you feel when the phone finally stops ringing after a long call, or when the last chord of a song fades into silence. That pause is powerful. The bell creates that pause. These upgrades aren't about adding drama. They're about giving your wish more ways to travel. Writing anchors it, burning releases it. Scent reminds you, light guides it. Sound clears the way. Together they create a web of signals, physical, emotional, energetic, that carry your intention further than thought alone. And the beauty is you don't need to do them all. This isn't a checklist, it's an invitation. Choose what feels right tonight. Add another layer tomorrow. Let the ritual grow with you. What matters most is not perfection, but presence. It's not about whether the candle burns exactly 10 minutes or whether you write the sentence perfectly. It's about whether for a few moments you stopped rushing, whether you slowed enough to let your desire breathe, whether you treated your wish as something worthy of ceremony, no matter how small. Because when you do that, you tell yourself a different story. You say, my dreams matter enough to honor, and that alone begins to shift how you carry them. Maybe you'll notice small changes first. A lighter feeling when you wake up. A sense that you're less weighed down by yesterday's worries. Maybe you'll begin to see opportunities where you once only saw obstacles. Or maybe something larger will surprise you. A new job offer, unexpected financial relief, a door opening where one was closed. Call it coincidence if you like, or call it what happens when inner intention and outer action finally align. The climax of this ritual isn't the lemon or the salt or even the upgrades. The climax is you, the moment you choose to treat your desire as real, to take it seriously enough to give it space. That's when things shift, not always overnight, not always in the way you expect, but shift nonetheless. So tonight, if you're ready, upgrade the ritual, write your wish, burn a bay leaf, add oil, light, sound, whatever resonates. Each layer is like a ripple, moving your desire further into the current of life. And while you sleep, let the unseen do its work. You don't need to micromanage it. You don't need to hold on tightly. Just let go gently, like releasing a balloon into the sky. Watch it rise. Trust it will land where it needs to. Because in the end, that's what this ritual is teaching, how to release with faith, how to speak your wish without clinging, how to let it travel further than your own hands can carry it. And that's how new things arrive, not forced, not demanded, but invited. Section 5. When it's done, let it go as gently as a nod goodbye. You've placed the lemon, you've sprinkled the salt, you've let the night carry your wish in silence, and by morning maybe you feel lighter. Maybe the air in your room seems clearer. Maybe your sleep was deeper, or maybe nothing felt different at all. That's okay. The work was still happening, even if it was quiet. But here's the part most people miss. The end matters as much as the beginning. How you let go of the lemon is just as important as how you placed it. Because what you're really doing isn't just putting something under your bed. You're practicing how to release. Think of it this way: the lemon has spent the night listening. It's been absorbing what you didn't want to hold anymore. Worries, heaviness, leftover tension. It's done its job, and now it's heavy, not in weight, but in energy. Would you pick up a dirty sponge with your bare hands after it's soaked up everything from the sink? No, the same goes here. When you remove the lemon, do it with care. Use a paper towel, gloves, or a small bag. Don't touch it directly. You don't want to reabsorb what you just asked it to take from you. Handle it the way you'd handle something fragile, something finished. Then comes the most important part. Don't throw it in your bedroom trash can. Don't leave it in your kitchen bin. Take it outside. The ritual began with bringing the lemon into your space. It ends with you escorting it out. That action matters. It marks closure. It says, "Thank you, your part is done. Now I release you." Place it in an outdoor garbage bin, tie the bag, and walk away. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't need words, just a quiet letting go. A nod goodbye, and here's where the rhythm of the ritual deepens, because it doesn't end after one night. To really shift energy, to really clear what's been building up, you continue. Replace the lemon each day for 3 to 7 nights. 3 if you want a gentle refresh. 7 if you're ready for a deeper cleanse. Think of it like changing an air filter. 1 night helps. Several nights restore the flow completely. Every time you switch the lemon, you're not just repeating an act. You're reaffirming a choice. You're saying again and again, I release, I invite, I trust. And yes, it may feel repetitive, but repetition is how change sticks. The same way we build habits, the same way the body remembers. Each night you slide a new lemon under your bed, you're teaching your mind and your space the art of renewal. You're creating rhythm, and rhythm is what keeps energy moving. There's a deeper beauty in this part of the ritual too. Because every time you replace the lemon, you're practicing something most of us resist, letting go of what no longer serves. How often do we cling to things, old habits, clutter, even relationships that have long passed their purpose? We hold on out of fear, out of comfort, out of the hope that maybe they'll change. But the truth is, release is where freedom begins. The lemon shows you that, tangibly. Each time you carry it out of your house, you're embodying release. You're not just thinking about it, you're living it. And as you do, you begin to notice something subtle. Your room feels lighter not just because of the lemon, but because you've taught yourself the rhythm of release. You've reminded yourself that letting go doesn't have to be painful or dramatic. It can be as simple as removing what's done, making space, and starting fresh. Like tidying up a corner, like exhaling after a long day, like nodding goodbye without needing to explain. This is where the emotional peak of the ritual lives, not in the cutting, not in the salt, but in the ending. Because endings shape beginnings. If you discard the lemon carelessly, you risk inviting the heaviness back in. But if you do it with presence, with intention, you seal the process. You complete the cycle, and completion is what allows the next cycle to begin freely. You may wonder, will I feel wealth pour in immediately? Will money show up tomorrow? Maybe, maybe not. The ritual isn't a slot machine. It's not about forcing outcomes. It's about aligning your space with your intention. And when your space supports you, your sleep deepens, your stress softens, your decisions sharpen. And that's when opportunities appear. That's when flow begins. Not because the lemon made it happen, but because you removed what was blocking it. So yes, let the lemon do its work. But when it's done, honor the ending. Carry it outside. Replace it with something fresh. Repeat. Not with impatience, but with faith. Faith that clearing space is never wasted. Faith that letting go makes room for more. Faith that every small act of release adds up to a life that feels lighter, freer, and more open to abundance. The quiet truth is this: the ritual only works because you allow it to. The lemon is a tool. The salt is a support. The plate is a container. But you are the current. You are the one choosing release over holding. You are the one who says goodbye gently without fear. And when you do, you invite life to bring you what's next. So tonight, when you wake and pick up that lemon, remember, this is not just waste to throw away. This is a symbol of what no longer belongs with you. Treat it that way. Carry it out. Release it. Nod goodbye. And as you close the lid of the bin, whisper softly in your heart, I am ready for what's waiting. That's how you complete the ritual. That's how you turn a simple fruit into a lesson. And that's how you remind yourself every night that letting go is not an ending. It's the start of something new. Section 6. Why under the bed? Because that's where energy lingers. Most people don't think about what's under their bed. It's either empty or it's where old boxes, shoes, or forgotten things end up collecting dust. But in truth, what's beneath your bed matters more than you realize. Because your bed is not just furniture, it's the place where you spend a third of your life. It's where your body restores itself. It's where your breathing slows, where your mind drifts, where your heart finds rest. And if that space beneath you is stagnant, cluttered, or heavy, it doesn't just sit there, it seeps into you. Think about it. Every night you come home carrying the weight of the day, conversations, worries, unfinished tasks, unspoken emotions. You lie down and your body relaxes, but all of that doesn't just vanish. It lingers in the air, in the silence, in the very atmosphere of your room. And where does it go? Downward, into the space beneath the bed. Energy, like dust, settles. It finds the lowest point and waits. If that space is cluttered, blocked, or unprotected, the heaviness builds. And you, sleeping above it, breathe it in night after night. That's why this ritual doesn't ask you to place the lemon on a shelf or a windowsill or a nightstand. It asks you to put it right under your bed, directly beneath where you sleep. Because that's the heart of your home's energy system. Your bed is your personal power station. It's where your body charges, where your dreams unfold, where your subconscious does its deepest work. And if that space is supported, your restoration is supported. If it's blocked, you feel blocked. If it's light and clear, you wake lighter and clearer too. Placing a lemon under your bed turns that overlooked space into a filter. Instead of letting negative energy stagnate, you give it a place to be absorbed, contained, and carried out. The lemon acts like a sponge, soaking up what would otherwise collect under you. And the salt creates a boundary, preventing it from seeping back. It's a quiet, invisible protection, not dramatic, not mystical, but practical. You're giving the unseen a way to move so that it doesn't keep circling back into your sleep. Consider this: when water is blocked, it grows stale. When air doesn't circulate, it becomes stuffy. Energy works the same way. A blocked flow in your bedroom doesn't just make for restless sleep. It can ripple into your mood, your clarity, even your finances. You wake up tired, you feel less motivated, you make decisions from stress instead of strength. Over time, the smallest blockages become patterns, and patterns shape lives. That's why this ritual focuses exactly where you spend your most vulnerable hours. You don't need to control the whole house. You just need to protect the space where you lay your head. This isn't superstition. It's common sense dressed in ritual. Imagine if every night you charged your phone on a faulty outlet. The current is unstable, the charge weak, and the next day your phone dies halfway through. You wouldn't accept that. You'd fix the outlet. Your body is no different. Your bed is the outlet, and the energy under it, the part you never see, affects how well you recharge. The lemon, in its quiet way, stabilizes the current. Some people wonder, does it really matter? Isn't this just symbolism? Maybe. But symbols matter. Actions matter. When you choose to clear the space under your bed, you're not just moving dust. You're signaling to yourself, I respect my rest. I protect my recharge. That mindset alone changes how you feel when you lie down. The lemon is the reminder. The salt is the seal. Together they create a small but powerful shift that your body, mind, and spirit recognize immediately, even if your eyes don't. And think about how much of your life begins in bed. The big decisions you wake up ready to make. The clarity that arrives after a good night's sleep. The financial opportunities you notice because you feel more alert, more grounded, more willing to act. Rest is the foundation of wealth, of health, of peace. Without it, everything else wobbles. So protecting your bed space isn't just about sleep. It's about the ripple effect into everything that follows. That's why under the bed is sacred in this ritual, because it's the one space you rarely think about but spend every night hovering over. By tending to it, you tend to yourself. By clearing it, you clear more than dust. You clear pathways, pathways for energy, pathways for peace, pathways for prosperity. And when you create flow there, flow begins to appear elsewhere too. So tonight, when you slide that plate under your bed, don't think of it as just tucking away fruit and salt. Think of it as activating the ground beneath you. Think of it as opening a channel. Think of it as saying, I deserve to rest on lightness, not on heaviness. I deserve to sleep on clarity, not on clutter, because you do. And when your body knows it, when your space knows it, your life begins to know it too. That's the truth about why the bed matters and why the lemon belongs beneath it. It's not random. It's not superstition. It's a choice to care for the unseen, because the unseen always becomes the seen. You feel it in your energy. You see it in your life. So don't overlook the space under your bed anymore. Treat it as the root of your home's energy, because in many ways it is. And when you care for it, when you let the lemon do its work there, you're not just improving your sleep. You're giving yourself permission to wake lighter, stronger, and more open to the opportunities waiting for you. So here we are. We've walked through something that on the surface seems simple. A lemon, some salt, a plate under your bed. But I hope you've begun to see it's not just about fruit or tradition or even ritual. It's about creating space for change. It's about giving yourself permission to release what's heavy, to clear what lingers unseen, and to rest on ground that finally supports you. Science already shows us how environment shapes our well-being, how clutter increases stress, how clean air improves sleep, how the smallest sensory cues shift our mood and decisions. This ritual works on that same truth. The lemon is a natural purifier. The salt is a natural absorber. And together, under the place where your body spends its most vulnerable hours, they become a filter, not just for air, but for energy, for the invisible weight you carry without realizing it. It's simple, yes, but simple doesn't mean small. Simple often means pure. And maybe the greatest gift of this practice is not wealth or even peace, it's awareness. Awareness that what surrounds you matters, that the unseen has power, that you are not stuck with the heaviness you came home with. You can change it. You can release it. You can invite something better in. All with an act so small it almost feels like a whisper. I want to pause here and thank you for staying with me, for listening, for being open to trying something different. I know life can be heavy. I know the nights can feel long. If you've made it this far, it means some part of you is ready to feel lighter. And that readiness, that willingness is already a turning point. So tonight, when you hold that lemon, remember this: you are not just preparing a ritual. You are preparing yourself. You are saying without words, I deserve peace, I deserve clarity, I deserve flow. And whether you feel it right away or it arrives slowly, I promise you've already begun the shift. As you go, I wish you rest so deep your mornings feel new again. I wish you a home that breathes with you, light and open. And I wish you prosperity that arrives not with force, but with ease, like water finally flowing where it was always meant to. Thank you for being here. May tonight bring you softness. May tomorrow bring you light. And may what you've set in motion tonight under the quiet of your bed find its way into every corner of your life.